Yeah, so this is me. I'm an artist, but I also do millions of other things. I've got a little thing, it's not as cool as Sian's thing that she did where all of her jobs popped up. But yeah, I do lots of stuff. So I'm a tutor, curator, programmer, freelancer, events facilitator, and basically do anything in the arts for cash. So sort of a jack of all trades, I suppose. And here's me doing some of that stuff just to visualize it. So yeah, just me teaching, putting on talks at various places, programming a symposium. That was probably one of the highlights of my hidden dooring, which was really exciting. And yeah, just generally being parts of the festivals in Edinburgh. And things like that. So I graduated from Duncan of Johnstone Art and Philosophy in 2014, and then I moved to Edinburgh because I didn't know where else to live, but I thought, you know, Edinburgh might be cool. And also I thought maybe I could be an alternative in the Edinburgh pond instead of maybe going to Glasgow like a lot of my pals were. And it's turned out to be great living here, so that's been good. So this is some of my work, some of my visual stuff. I do a whole like range of different things, but I've also played a lot with light. So I'm just going to show you more of the light installations, just to give you an idea of like sort of the variation of light-based stuff. So just some pop-up installation I did in Dundee when I was a student with a generator, UV lights and some string. It makes the string glow in a nice blue color. So just go back one because this was a project I did at Hidden Door Festival, and that's what got me onto the team where I sort of got to know the creative sector in Edinburgh a lot better. And yeah, I was trying to create some sort of hologram. So I just like layered up string over a 6 foot by 6 foot cube and projected some sort of animations that get bigger and smaller. And if you want to see that in anywhere, then it's on my Instagram and I'll put the link up at the end of the talk. So yeah, that was quite fun to do. So there's a lot of science in my work, I suppose, that underpins it, but I won't go into all of sort of explaining that now because I'm a waffler, so I'll just try and stick to the time. But this work was another work at Hidden Door, and I was using a sensor, and this is something that started to get me thinking about how I was doing a lot of immersive artwork, but I wanted to build works that were more participatory. And this is for a few reasons, but mainly because I wanted to raise the person interacting with the artwork to be on the same level as the artwork. So rather than being called a viewer, you're called a participator. And without the participator, the artwork doesn't react and it doesn't have the same quality or doesn't do something. So with this artwork, you walked up to it and then there was like an infrared sensor. And when you walk past the sensor, the animation on the infinity mirror changed. So it's quite a basic sort of thing, but I had to get someone in to program the sensor because I couldn't program at that point. I still can't, but I'm looking into it. And that's what got me thinking about just trying to create stuff that's a bit more, yeah, it's a bit more interactive, and it sort of puts more of an emphasis on inclusion, I suppose. So anyone can have a conversation with the artwork and they don't have to know anything about it, and it goes beyond being immersive. So that's sort of where my head's at with this work. So let me just go on. So another work, again, this wasn't participatory, it was an immersive artwork, UV lights and string, and this was also at Hidden Door. And yeah, just a bigger scale, just to show you that. So yeah, as I've touched on before, I'm interested in interdisciplinary stuff, building work with other people in a collaborative sense, and really focusing on participation and participatory artworks, moving away from immersive artworks. So the funding, so basically I had no idea about data. I didn't know what that meant within my work. And it was suggested to me that basically because I hadn't like done that much sort of my own practice work outside of university, that I might benefit from getting some funding and being able to focus a bit more and learn things and just develop my practice. But I didn't consider this fund until it was like, people just kept saying, you know, you should go for it. No, you fit it. No, you know. So I just had to have a very long, hard think about what data meant in terms of my practice. And obviously it was there, a lot of translating of words into abstract light pieces of like concepts into like movement. There's a lot of like consideration of placement and about how people interact with stuff. So there's a lot of like hidden data. So I just had to think about that when I was writing my application. But basically I sort of wanted to focus on sort of my practice, thinking about what I can do to develop it, to build more sustainable business, and also employ tutors to teach me to upskill, because I came out of university and just at the end of graduating I went, oh, this is what I want to do, and then I was out there in the world and I had to survive with you know, no money, and my family are in Essex in England and I was up here, and I don't know, there was just a lot of unsettling stuff that happens when you graduate, and I think my practice has sort of been paused basically. So this fund has given me the opportunity to really like deep dive into other worlds. So yeah, in short, what I'm actually doing, paying myself so that I've got time to afford to explore instead of taking lots of jobs doing random things. I can have a bit of time to actually think about my work, buying kit and tech, which I wouldn't otherwise have, getting professional tutorship in sound and light, getting a residency space, and mental support from like a group environment. So one of my tutors is Dave House. So he's a sound maker, he's a musician, and he makes polyrhythmic soundscapes from algorithms, field recordings and synthesis. He's got a recording studio called the Noise Floor in Leith, and he's all about Ableton, which is this music software. So he's been teaching me how that works and how I can manipulate sound. And then Sam James, he is this amazing light technician, and he's led loads of projects over, well, internationally and beyond. And you need to check these people out because they're just incredible at what they do. And I feel so lucky that I could hire them as part of this project so that they could teach me something. So what am I making? Well, I am building on some experimental films and sound pieces, building the beginnings of some sort of experimental album, and looking at sort of participatory installations, like how can I get things to be triggered through interaction. A lot of stuff changed from when I put the project in and from what it is now. So COVID obviously disrupted quite a lot of stuff. So a lot of the sound and light sessions had to be paused or postponed, and I couldn't start as quickly as I thought I would be able to because of various projects that I had to do instead. So yeah, that sort of disrupted the timeline, but it's fine. And then the more I sort of understood, the more I understood I didn't know, which is probably true for many things, but it became frustrating at some points because I thought, well, if only I'd known this when I was writing my application, maybe I could have written something different about the project. But this is all part of the learning curve, I suppose. So in other ways, it's been fantastic because there's so many worlds within worlds that I'm starting to understand, and I just had no idea that they existed before. So this is me doing some of the sessions. So we've got some pictures of the kit that I've managed to buy. So I've got like this Novation keyboard behind me as well. I've got, what have I got? A sound card, sound software. So before I was working a lot on my mobile phone. So I was making sound in like GarageBand, it's an app you can download. And I was making videos just on my phone as well. And, you know, after a while staring at a screen like this big, it just starts to do your head in with your eyesight. So the other thing is that you can't produce high quality professional output. So this is really affording me the chance to do that. So I'm buying lots of different kit, some of it's around the outside. And Dave's been teaching me how to use Ableton Live, which I said before. And then in the middle, we have pictures of a sound session, which was, we managed to hire out Summer Hall for a few days in March. We were socially distanced learning, and basically I had free reign of the stage at Summer Hall, which was amazing. And Sam brought all his kit in, which is quite expensive, but it was great to play with. And I built a sound piece before in Ableton Live all by myself, which I hadn't done before. And then we time coded the sound to lights. and created an installation which was then recorded. So it was just a kind of learning piece, really. But I have recorded that, and the full thing will go up online. But I think I'm going to show you a snippet of it. If I just go through some of the pictures, that's me looking like I actually know what I'm doing, but I don't. And this is some of the output of that particular bit of the project. So here's a bit of the video. I'll just play it quickly. Okay, so that was really short, but it's about 3 minutes long, the piece, and we used basically just a dust sheet and then put lights on and sort of design something that would be moving and create a sense of illusion with space. So quite a basic thing. It was $1.99 for the dust sheet, but the kit and Sam's tech knowledge is obviously like thousands of pounds, but he kindly lent us some of that to use. So that was good for me. But just thinking about scale. So if I was to build something where I was going to perform and I had access to a stage, I would obviously be able to transfer some of this knowledge onto that and think about building a performance installation that would be much easier with a rigging set in a way that I wouldn't, have been able to know before. So it's playing it again. Just move on. So just to come more towards the end of my presentation. So I do a lot of like layering and data. I've been doing data translation, which is I've been specifically looking at how can I turn numbers into something. So I've been thinking about what colors are named as numbers, and in different places, like how can I translate sound into numbers and things like that. So I'm at the beginning stages of all of that, but I've created some pieces that are online that you can have a look at. And I've just been trying to figure out a process that I can replicate basically and then repeat in lots of different ways to create some sort of audiovisual output. Oh, I was just going to quickly click on my Insta stuff, if it's going to work. So yeah, on Instagram, I have a lot of the behind the scenes of what I've been learning. So it's, yeah, it's kind of worth checking that out if you're interested in seeing more. I think I'm less able to explain it, and it's more able to be seen like through clicking on things. But yeah, I've got quite a lot of bits and bobs on my Instagram there. Just get back to my presentation. This is totally smooth. Oh. Don't know if I'll be able to somehow. Here we are. Sorry. Cool. And then where are we going here? So what I figured out is that I need to find a way to trigger light and sound together. And this requires a whole set of information that I didn't have any knowledge of before. So I'm looking at how to program Arduino sensors, what Max for Live, which is a thing you can get in Ableton, can do, and how I can learn how to sort of program with that. And thinking about Resolume, which is for massive projects. It's a similar kind of thing. It's used for VJing, so you can control projection mapping, and it syncs to music. And a lot of people in giant gigs will use that and have a VJ technician that they get in to manage Resolume. I can't afford that, but I'm looking into what I could do with bigger projects if I was to go for other funding for things like a permanent public art project, maybe in the middle of Edinburgh or something like that. So yeah, so I've got a lot of different things to look into. Still, I'm still doing my project. I haven't finished. I think I'm meant to be finishing sometime in May, but it's thinking about the scale of it. So from building small sculptures that have like an Arduino sensor in the middle that are reactive to people's presence, to larger performative things that I can do, or installations. So there's a huge range of information here, but I wouldn't have been able to look into researching it if I hadn't got this fund. This is just a tiny example of like some stuff that Ableton. I'm going to stop there because I don't know if I shared my sound at the beginning of this talk, but you should check that out. So basically it's looking at how you can program with Max for Live into things and how that can trigger sound. So I'm sort of looking into that. And then the final, oh no, sorry. The final thing, yeah, so just a little like breakdown of what I've achieved. It's quite a lot of stuff really, because I was going into this as a kind of exploratory thing with no real fixed idea of the final output. So I feel like I've come a long way, but because I'm still in the middle of it, I'm not sure if I've explained it very well in this talk, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of an idea about the sort of space that I'm looking into. And the idea is to build some really interesting projects in the next few years. So this is giving me momentum to be able to know what areas of focus to look into, and hopefully you'll see the output of some of this over the next few years at exhibitions or performances or however it comes out. So yeah, that's me. I'm gonna stop talking now, but that's my site, so you can follow me.